everyone.
Good morning.
It is so nice to see you.
And to see you.
I have been back with the tech deck, and we are good to go. So I am so happy to see you. I haven't yet had the chance to greet you each in person before the service, so this is that, and we'll do more afterwards. Good morning and welcome. We are the Juneau Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, and I am the Reverend Teri Schwartz, worship minister here for this congregation. No matter your age, no matter your strengths, no matter your beliefs or lack of beliefs, no matter whom you love or whom you live with, congregational founders or first-time visitors, we welcome you here to this community. The mission of the Juneau Unitarian Universalist Fellowship is to be a spiritual home for all people who are engaged in a search for truth and meaning. We are glad that you are here. Well, let us enter into worship. These words by the Reverend Erica Hewitt, who is the Director of Worship Arts for the Unitarian Universalist Association. Put away the pressures of the world. As we enter into worship, put away the pressures of the world that ask us to perform, to take up masks, to put on brave fronts. Silence the voices that ask you to be perfect. This is a community of compassion and welcoming. You do not have to do anything to be welcomed within these walls. You do not have to be braver, smarter, stronger, better than you are here in this moment to belong here with us. You only have to bring the gift of your body, no matter how able, your seeking mind, no matter how busy, your animal heart, no matter how broken. Bring all that you are and all that you love to this hour together. Let us worship together. And we'll start by singing together today in your hymnal number 360. And I'm going to get us a starting note so I don't lead you wildly astray.
Here we have gathered side by side, a circle of kinship, come and step inside. May all who seek here find a kindly word. May all who speak here feel they have been heard. Sing now together this our heart's own song. Here we have gathered, called to celebrate days of our lifetime, matters small and great. We of all ages, women, children, men, infants and sages, sharing what we can. Sing now together this our heart's own song. Life has its battles, sorrows and regret, but in the shadows let us not forget. We who now gather know each other's pain. Kindness can heal us as we give, we gain. Sing now in friendship this our heart's own song.
Our words for meditation today are Beloved Peace by Marge Piercy. It is beloved enough to be in our hymnal, to be of use. The people I love the best jump into work headfirst, without dallying in the shallows, and swim off with sure strokes almost out of sight. They seem to become natives of that element, the black sleek heads of seals bouncing like half-submerged balls. I love people who harness themselves an ox to a heavy cart, who pull like water buffalo with massive patience, who strain in the mud and the muck to move things forward, who do what has to be done again and again. I want to be with people who submerge in the task, who go into the fields to harvest and work in a row and pass the bags along, who are not parlor generals and field deserters, but move in a common rhythm when the food must come in or the fire be put out. The work of the world is common as mud. Botched, it smears the hands, crumbles to dust. But the thing worth doing well done has a shape that satisfies, clean and evident. Greek amphoras for wine or oil, Hopi vases that held corn are put in museums, but you know they were made to be used. The pitcher cries for water to carry, and the person for work that is real. It was a long way for her family to come, all the way from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Anywhere is a long way to come when you have 2 kids, a preschooler, and a baby in tow. Her dad, Joseph, was a mining engineer, and her mom, Esther, a homemaker. They moved to follow Joseph's job, 2 parents, and eventually 8 children. They settled in Alameda, California, just outside of San Francisco. The geographical distance less than the cultural distance. She was the 3rd child, too young to remember when they had been in Tulsa. Her earliest memories were of Alameda, beaches, birds, San Leandro Marina. She grew up there and then she went to high school in LA. At 20, she waited tables, now an adult ready for change. And change befell her as Pearl Harbor bombs fell. She heard the call to serve, duty to country, a stronger call than duty to customers. She convinced her younger sister to join her. Where? To work at the Alameda Naval Air Station's machine shop as some of the first women to take the jobs the men left behind when they went to war. They worked for a going rate of 50 cents an hour. In current day dollars, that's $10.84. And the minimum wage in Alaska is $11.73. The women had to quickly learn how to repair the Navy's combat-damaged aircraft, and they learned to weld, to drill, and yes, to rivet. In early 1942, the Bureau of Labor Statistics predicted a major problem. The country was about to face a shortage of 6 million workers. A shortage of 6 million workers in 1942 meant that the country's productivity would come to a complete halt by the end of 1943. Yet, the country already had the skilled labor it needed, but that skilled labor looked a little different than expected. Sometimes the resources we need are already in our midst. They might just look a little different than we expect. The world wars were total wars, meaning they required governments to utilize their entire population for the challenges they faced. And that's not unlike congregational life. And thankfully, we're not at war, not that I know of. But there's no shortage of challenges in any congregation as it navigates its future, as you navigate your future. What are your burdens? What are your hopes? What is not possible? What might be possible? What would it look like if we utilize our entire population for the challenges we face in our world, in our country, in Juneau, in our congregation? That waitress born in Tulsa who came of age in LA, she was a quick study, mastering the turret lathe. She and her 18-year-old sister drilled and patched airplane wings and operated the rivet machines. She went to work that day in coveralls and tied her hair back for safety in a polka-dotted bandana. And that day, a photographer came to the naval base, and snap, he got the perfect shot. Soon thereafter, this picture was published in the newspaper, and she cut it out and saved it. Now, aside from that photographer wandering around the machine shop floor, it was a regular day for her and her coworkers. And for many of them, it was another day of parenting too. Most of the women who took jobs were mothers, and they banded together. Women with school-aged children created groups to share chores, cooking, cleaning, laundry. Women with young children at home rented apartments and houses, saving time, money, utilities, and food. And they'd work at the machine shop on different shifts so they could take turns watching the children. Personally, I'm not sure when they slept. Amazing things can happen when we pool our resources, our time, our talents, and our treasure. Later that year, the song Rosie the Riveter hit the airwaves and became a hit. It became the name of a social movement that increased the number of working women by 57%. Between 1940 and 1944, 8 million women started working outside of the home. These women were united, and they proved to themselves and the country that they could do a man's job and do it well. The Rosie Riveter song describes, keep a sharp lookout for sabotage. Sitting up there on the fuselage, that little frail can do more than a male can do. Rosie the Riveter. 50 years later, the Harvard Business Review said not only did Rosie do it, she did it better than anyone had ever before. During the 5 years she was on the shop floor from 1942 to 47, productivity rose, product cycle time dropped, and quality improved. Just 6 years prior, a total work stoppage was predicted. And what? What if in this time of your life you too felt empowered and proud in knowing what you choose not to do, so you can truly know what you can do as a congregation, as people? She felt empowered, proud, and productive. Waitress turned machinist, red polka dots and blue denim, color captured in black and white. That photo inspired artist J. Howard Miller's We Can Do It poster. The iconic painting was only displayed in the Westinghouse Electric Corporation plants for 2 weeks in 1942. It was actually never a government recruitment poster. That day hadn't yet come. It came of age really during the feminist movement of the 1980s, where it became a symbol of strength and resilience. The Rosie in that painting, inspired by the Rosie in the photo, who was she really? Debates ensued for decades. There were 4 women who were thought to be the original Rosie, but no one knew, not even Rosie herself. 1984, 53 years after the photographer walked on that shop floor, she saw a reprint of that photo in Modern Maturity magazine. She thought to herself, that woman looks a lot like I did when I was younger. 1994, Miller's iconic Rosie poster graced the March 1994 cover of Smithsonian magazine. She thought, she looks like the woman at the lathe who looks like me. Sometimes we may not recognize who we are at first. Sometimes we may not recognize who we can become. This is true for people, it's true for us as individuals, and it's true for congregations. Do you recognize who you are? Do you recognize who you are not? Do you recognize your capacities? Do you recognize who you can become? Fast forward 12 years, she made her way to the Rosie the Riveter World War II Homefront National Historic Park. She was headed there for a reunion of female war workers. There in the national park, that original photo was on display, and it was captioned with another woman's name. And this time she remembered it. She remembered she had saved that photo from the newspaper in 1942. Sometimes we can remember what we have forgotten, who we are, who we can become. Later that year, the world found out she was right. Dr. James Kimball, a communication professor, found the original photo from a vintage photo dealer, and on the back, in the photographer's own hand, it read, March 24th, 1942, Alameda, California. Quote, pretty Naomi Parker looks like she might catch her nose in the turret lathe she is operating. He tracked her down and her sister Ada and visited them in Cottonwood, California in 2015. It was indeed Mrs. Naomi Parker Fraley, and she showed him the newspaper clipping she had saved for 73 years. So, we've identified the woman in the photo, but who was the real Rosie? Well, like most things in life, that's a much more complex question with a much more complex answer. You see, those 20 million women working during the war, 1 million women were Black, and another 6,500 Black women served in the Women's Army Corps. But they weren't represented. The Rosies considered worthy of representation, well, they were wearing a blue jumpsuit, a red bandana, and were white. The icon of American women in World War II were literally red, white, and blue. Who do we not see in our midst? Who is not represented? What if who we are is a lot broader than we know? Who were the real Rosies? The real Rosies were every woman who worked in the war effort. The woman heroes whose faces we never saw. The women across lines of class, race, and education. You see, during World War II, the women who worked to produce tanks, ships, planes, ammunition, called themselves Rosies. Being Rosie was a choice. And it's a choice that you and I, that we can make too. It's a name we can call ourselves. We can be a Rosie when we choose to connect with others, to find and be the resources, the human resources, already in our midst. Sometimes the battles of our lives depend upon doing things that we thought were impossible with resources we didn't know we had. Sometimes our lives demand that we pick our battles. What is our capacity? What are our needs? You may not recognize who you are as a person, as a people, and you may not yet recognize who you can be as a person and a people. But you can make a choice, and choosing to be a Rosie is choosing creative thinking, flexible mindsets, embracing change, and pooling our resources for the good of all. And you can be a Rosie, and any of us, when we say, yes, yes, we can.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle around to tend these We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. Yay.
And there are different seasons and times in our lives, and time where we tend to hearth and home, times where we lay fallow and feel the joy and contentment that can come with work well done. There are times where we start new things. There are times to cast stones out and to gather them in, and none are particularly better or worse than the other in the cycle of life, and in the cycle of each of our lives, and in the cycle of congregational lives. All of those things are equally needed and equally inherently good, but good isn't always easy. And so I hear in the room some sorrow and some grief at the state of the world and each of our capacities. And I want to offer this to you before we close.
Loosen, baby, you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, baby, you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, baby, you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. let go, let go, let go. Holy breath and holy name. Will you ease this pain? Holy breath and holy name. Will you ease this pain? Loosen, baby, and you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Ease this pain. Loosen, baby, and you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, baby, holy breath, and holy name. Will you ease this pain? Holy rain, will you ease this pain? Will you You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. There's Loosen by Ali Halpert, a Reformed Jewish queer musician who creates congregational music. And as we come full circle and close our worship time together, we balance those two poles to be of use, the pitcher that cries to carry water, and at the same time, we don't have to be braver, smarter, stronger, or better than we are in this moment. There's nothing you have to do or be. And we live in that tension somewhere in the middle as people and as a congregation. So I invite you now for us to close in your traditional way in song with 402, but I think you all have that memorized.
From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live.
So go forth in peace and be a blessing, but also may you each be blessed in turn.